Hi everyone, I'm Monarch of Tetris, and today I'll be showing you my renovated Pillager Outpost. After my last videos on the woodland mansions, this was a natural next structure to do. So I'll start by showing you the outside. I decided to choose this Pillager Outpost in the kind of snow biome here, just because I thought it looked pretty cool, but I could have done it in any biome. So first thing is I replaced the carved pumpkins on these with actual target blocks, because these are definitely meant to be this like target test for the pillagers to train with their crossbows. So I replaced them with actual target blocks. And then for some fun, I added these flags here just for like an easy, medium, and like hard difficulty shot. Maybe the pillagers can, practice their archery here. Let's see. Not bad. And then I'd also just fill these with a bunch of arrows to make them look like they've actually been used. So going into these little buildings next, I decided to make these kind of workstations. So this one has a cauldron in it, anvil, crafting table, blast furnace, grindstone. So just some outside areas that the pillagers can work in, because the inside of the outpost is actually kind of cramped. So this is where they could do their actual work, like repairing their gear, stuff like that. Next over here is the iron golem, kind of trapped in this little wooden cage here. All I did was add some fence posts, just so if the pillagers wanted to kind of experiment on the iron golem, they could actually get in here without having to break the wood. Over here I added something which I thought would be a pretty cool idea. Like, what if when you showed up at the Pillager Outpost, there was a way to make your own iron golem? So I just have the iron golem structure here with the carved pumpkin that you would break, put on top, and spawn the iron golem. But while I was doing that, I actually had an idea that I thought would be even cooler. What if you could instead spawn a Ravager? So the Ravager is the kind of beast that the pillagers ride on during raids. They actually look a lot like iron golems, and a lot of people have speculated that they are golems. They can be constructed, or they're artificially constructed like the iron golems are. So I thought it'd be really cool if Mojang added a way to spawn Ravagers into Minecraft, and the way you would discover that is you could go to an outpost or like a woodland mansion too, and there would be some iron blocks that you could spawn a Ravager with. Since the Ravagers are kind of bigger, maybe it could be something like this, and you'd put the carved pumpkin here, and it would spawn a Ravager that would be friendly to the player. So then you could, maybe even put like a harness on it and ride the Ravager around like the pillagers do. So if that existed in Minecraft, I would make a cage and then have a Ravager spawn in there instead. So going over here, I decided to take a room from the woodland mansion and just add it here. So I just added this farm that the pillagers could use. So obviously we're in the snow biome, so the ice melted. But so this particular outpost probably wouldn't have a farm. But if it was like a plains outpost, they would have this farm, and the crops would actually not be dying. So I just had like wheat over here, melons and pumpkins, all of which are things that the pillagers have farms for in their woodland mansion. So it makes sense that they would have one here too. Chest at the end with some seeds and a hoe. 2 composters. Just added some torches to make it look nice. So I feel like this is something that the pillagers could set up. If they can build this whole outpost, they can definitely build a farm so that they can support themselves for a little bit. They would obviously take a lot of food from the woodland mansions when they come out here and build the outpost. But in case they need to stay longer, they'd have some way of sustaining themselves just for a little bit. So over here I've got some alloys in this cage. All I did with this one was also just add the gates so you could actually get in it. And then I put a brewing stand in there so the evokers could get in there and, you know, how brew potions or however they turn the allays into vexes. And that's something I would generally just change with the Pillager Outpost. I wouldn't just make it so pillagers spawn, I'd make it so pillagers, vindicators, and evokers could all spawn, like they do in woodland mansions and during raids. I don't know why that's not in regular Minecraft as well. I mean, during a raid, the pillagers would come from the outpost, so why can not all three types of them spawn? Doesn't really make much sense. So before we go in, last thing I did was I added this cobblestone path with some fences and torches on it. I think it looks pretty nice. Makes for kind of a cinematic walk-in. So starting at the entrance, I added these two flags, added some more fence posts with some torches, added a torch here. So going in, I kind of made the ground floor here kind of like a meeting work area. So I put these slabs all around the edge, put some flower pots with some flowers in it, because we know that the pillagers like their flowers like in the woodland mansion. So I'd like to think that they bring some flower pots and flowers with them to their outposts too. Just added some chairs. Then replaced the, or not replaced, just added some actual glass to like just, these used to be holes before, so I just added some actual glass here to make windows. And the second floor. So what I did here was I made these little outcroppings so the pillagers could shoot their crossbows. So just made this go out a little farther so you can get a better view. You know, you can have a 180-degree angle from here to shoot, basically. So just did that on all three sides, or all four sides actually, here too. It looks a little weird because the staircase kind of goes up a little bit too far, but you can still make it over here. And you got a wide range to shoot from. Another thing with these little outcroppings, I decided to make these full blocks instead of just fence posts, so that the pillagers could kind of duck behind them. Because at this height, it's definitely feasible. It's definitely feasible if you get the right angle to return fire. So the pillagers would need some way to duck. And even though arrows don't actually go through, you know, fence posts in Minecraft, because I guess that'd be too hard to program or something, just for realism, I decided to make this an actual block so that pillagers here could duck from return fire. Next floor is the completely encased floor. So I decided to make this the living quarters. So a bunch of beds here that the pillagers would sleep in. I was able to add a couple slabs with some flowers here, and just added some chests with some important things the pillagers would need. So here's just food. I got bread, pumpkins, melons. That seems to be their main diet. And here I would just add some crossbows, iron axe, some leather armor, which I definitely think you should be able to loot from pillagers. It's clear that they wear leather, so they should drop leather armor. And going to the top floor, this is really the lookout floor, and just a way for the pillagers just to rain arrows down. So I made these little outcroppings where the pillager could sit, and then they could shoot, you know, a bunch of arrows. And some chests up here, I added, you know, crossbows, arrows. Added a fletching table where you could make arrows. Side note, why have they not added functionality to the fletching table? You still can't do anything with it. Like, why can you not make arrows with this? Make special arrows, like with potion effects, or spectral arrows, like something. Like, add some functionality to this block, Mojang. I really don't get it. It's just for aesthetics, so like, come on. Add some more arrows and crossbows. And that's pretty much it, actually. So this is a lot of smaller build. Guys, it's, you know, not gigantic like the woodland mansions are. Only really a few structures. I didn't really want to add too much because this really is meant to be maybe like a temporary kind of outpost. Not sure if it's temporary, but it's not meant to be as elaborate as the woodland mansions are. So all I did was improve the existing structures. Just like improved the kind of cages, made a case for the Ravager existing, And then added a little farm, because I think it's strange that there's not at least some kind of farm for an outpost like this. I mean, realistically, there'd be maybe 10 or 12 pillagers in here, so they'd need some way to feed themselves. They couldn't bring like enough food to last like months and months. They would need some way to at least replenish their stock so they're not just hemorrhaging food every single day. So it makes sense that they would have a little farm. But I hope everyone enjoyed my upgraded Pillager Outpost. This was a fun build as well, a little smaller. My next video I'm probably going to be doing an igloo and a swamp hut and maybe a couple other small structures. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Peace.